Welcome, prospectors! Come sit by the viewport with ye old base bard and let me tell you what I've learned after 50 hours on Arcadia 7, cause boy oh boy do I have some things to tell you. Shoot, I've been here so long I know how long each phase in the Rupture period lasts, and I'll tell you later. For starters, you must be wondering about the map. Where's the map for this cursed place? Like with all the essential things in this game, the corporations have decided that you have to earn it, so the first few hours you'll be going blind. As someone that spent hours getting lost on the planet, I advise to concentrate more on setting up manufacturing than exploring until you unlock the map. You'll need to mine and send calcite to Moon Energy Corporation to unlock it. You can find calcite if you stand with the orbital lander behind your back and look straight ahead. It looks like this. I appreciate that there's many ways you could play, but if you're playing solo and you value your time, also don't go out of your way and spend too much time collecting plants and meteorites for obtaining data points, because manufacturing is that much faster. When you explore later, you will also find many pieces of equipment that will give you 500 or even more data points each. I found the best use for data points is when you're in the range of corporation levels 4 to 6, because that's when you need to add more bases and more factories. That's when I use data points to speed up the transition and make it easier for myself by avoiding having to set up some temporary midway solution. Also, if you want to save yourself time, don't bother with the health corporation at the beginning, or at all. You don't need the regeneration chamber if your base is close to your lander. The med tool has to be recharged every time by harvesting lots of plants or killing plenty of aliens. I found that I often forget about the thing completely and just eat foods to restore health. Plus, if I need to collect plants to recharge the med tool, why wouldn't I just eat the plants? I think I only used it a couple of times so far. LEM modules that you can install in the LEM station don't give you any noticeable boosts. I mean, will you really notice a reduction of calorie loss by 10%? Or do you really need to reduce fall damage by 20%? And that's when you can just do a double jump when you're falling to not take any damage at all. And that's considering that it's hard to even find such a height that could hurt you. This game is very forgiving on that front. And ready-made food is so abundant as loot that I never actually use the food station, so yeah, don't bother with the health corporation. It is not entirely obvious in this game how to acquire weapons beyond pistol. What you need to do is have this upgrade station, and then you can spend war bonds in it, like this, to get new, better weapons. Now, honestly, I still prefer Harvester in many situations because shooting guns in this game somehow is not satisfying to me at all, but I'm not here to ramble, so let's continue. When you can't wait for all those orbital cargo shipments to go through, you don't have to waste your precious data points that you spent years to collect, or waste time creating more production chains. Just leave your computer and do other things. At least, that's what I was forced to do when playing solo, because I had already explored nearly all of the map and there wasn't anything else for me to do. Just eat, hydrate, save the game and stay in your habitat module, so that you don't get killed by the Rupture. At the current state of the game, there are no enemies that attack your base unprovoked. Speaking of that, you don't have to fear that your base will be attacked when you're away, so explore safely. And once you get rid of aliens at a location, they don't respawn in that place anymore, so you are free to run around and build there to your heart's content. Enemies do, however, spawn from underground when you trigger certain events, for example when you upgrade the base core or interact with geoscanners to reveal points of interest on the map, even when everything else on the planet is dead. Unfortunately, the game expects you to guess what resource deposit you're looking at, and it doesn't mark them on the map. If you're unsure whether there's a resource deposit where you're standing, or if you want to find more from a distance, equip the construction tool by clicking F and then look around. Resource deposits that you can build on will be marked with an icon. There's two types of resource deposits, with pure and impure ores. I've only found pure titanium so far. It's even in the very starting area and it looks like this, compared to the impure ore over here. The difference is that the pure one produces twice as much ore, which means being able to power twice as many factory buildings. Have you wondered how long exactly each Rupture period lasts? Well, I timed it. It takes 2 minutes from the first warning to incineration. Then, it takes 1 minute 30 seconds before you can leave your habitat module. After that, there is exactly 10 minutes where you can run around a barren, alien-free planet, and 40 minutes after that to run around a fully restored ecosystem to collect plants and such. The best use of the 10 minutes you get to roam around the dead planet is to visit outposts, these areas on the map, as they usually are teeming with aliens in other times, and loot everything in peace and quiet. Anything that you can loot is marked with orange, as you might have noticed, bodies, storage boxes, etc., but you can also loot buildings if they flash with orange. The second best use of the 10 minutes after everything dies is to go cave diving, as these caves are locked in other times. Caves don't have much in terms of resources though, it's only quartz and glow caps with the occasional body, so you'll only do it a couple of times before you get bored. If you don't manage to get out of the cave before the planet rejuvenates and get locked inside, shoot the red bulb, and this will open the entrance for several seconds for you to get out. But if it happens so and there's aliens outside the cave, you won't get out. Yes, they won't be able to harm you when you're inside, but you won't be able to harm them either. It's nearly impossible to get out of the cave to shoot them. So don't go spelunking right before the 10 minutes end, and if you happen to get into such a situation, try saving and loading, at least that's what helped me. And while it makes sense to put on a timer for those 10 minutes to not get caught in the middle of the outpost, when all the aliens respawn, timing the rejuvenated phase is not something practical. So how do you deal with the situation when you're caught in the middle of nowhere and there's a rupture coming? Just carry around a few meteorite hearts and building components. This will allow you to build a new core and a habitat to survive the rupture in. It costs nothing and you'll be able to deconstruct them after and get all your resources back. Speaking of deconstructing the base core, you can do that even after you've placed other buildings. They won't disappear, you just won't be able to build new ones until you place another base core. Also, you can deconstruct the whole base if you ever want to and get back all your resources, supposedly. This option is available in the base core. Not sure what the bug is here, but look, I should get 391 for deconstruction. I have 14 building pieces, and after deconstruction I have 376. I think it counts the platforms that overlap with the other cores, but obviously it doesn't destroy them because they're protected by these other cores. When building things, you can click R to favorite an item, and then it will appear here. Speaking of building, are you seeing building is not stable when trying to attach a building to a platform? This is because you build platforms without support. What you need to do now is add pillars separately. It's likely you won't be able to because your platform is higher than one pillar's worth. But you can add a pillar at the very bottom, close to the ground, and then attach a full pillar on top of it. Just scroll the mouse wheel. Now you just need to figure out how many levels the bottom pillar has to be. To do that, scroll back up and you'll see just how big the space underneath it is. And you'll be able to eye the approximate level that the bottom pillar has to be. This is some very bad user experience, and if you're watching this months from now, I hope this has already been fixed. Do you want more base building tips? Have you ever heard of push and pull system and know which one is used in this game and how to properly utilize it? Check out my base building guide here. I mentioned in the beginning that you inevitably have to set up a base next to a calcite deposit, but you will also inevitably have to attach it to your main titanium and wolfram production. This means snaking your rails through a lot of empty space. You won't be allowed to without placing an additional base core in the middle, and then when you do place one, wherever your cores overlap, the buildings and rails will be shared between them. There is a cargo dispatcher in the game that lets you send materials across distance, but you can't unlock and build it without first setting up an intermediate solution. Speaking of intermediate solutions, there might be better solutions out there, but here's what I did when faced with the need to make helium and glass to unlock the cargo teleporter. I built helium extractors, calcium excavators, and storage depots here, built a habitat with a recipe station, and then just collected all the materials from the depots to unlock everything I needed, just so I don't have to build 50 kilometers of rails back to my main base. And then once I got the cargo shipper, I could send it all back to my main base to make more advanced materials. When you do have to build long rails like I had here with helium extractors, there's a problem that your extractors stop producing new materials because they're waiting for the rails to clear. In this case here, the rails were holding 7 drones, and so the extractor was just waiting for them to clear. That's a lot of unused production potential. Fix it by adding storage depots in between. If you pick stuff up when your inventory is full, then it will just drop on the ground. Everything that is on the ground during the StarRupture is incinerated. This doesn't apply to items dropped inside your habitat, but they will still disappear after around 30 minutes or so. And speaking of things in your habitat, you can build basic personal storage on the walls and pieces of tree like this, or put them in the middle of your habitat. And in the recipe station, you might think that you can skip some of the recipes. Unfortunately, that's not true. You can slightly change the order, but the game is actually linear, so don't think you'll skip anything. Also, I completely forgot about it the one time that I died in this game, but you can just load the game if you die when playing solo. You don't have to lose 15% of your inventory every time you die, or however much it is you lose. Another thing that's easy to forget is your food and hydration levels. That's fine, you just lose 10 health every few seconds once your hydration or food is 0, so there's plenty of time to fill up, unless you're in a fight. Do you know what else there is plenty of time for? Liking and commenting under this video and checking out my other videos which have plenty other tips for you to explore. Or may I suggest you check out these videos that I spent so much time creating I could have learned a new language instead.